And we can go to our wide receiver rankings and more. So I guess almost halfway through. I'm going with our
Already an hour
consensus.
in.
An hour in. It's going to be a long pod, baby, but it's fine because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Our consensus 1, 2, and 3 for wide receivers go in order: JaMarr Chase, Devonta Smith, Jaylen Waddle. JaMarr Chase, I just think he has the production and he has the deep playability. I think I hit on this. I recorded a mock draft, and that'll be coming out probably right after I upload this podcast to the channel. But what I hit about JaMarr Chase, what I liked about him was that he has the ability to make deep plays to the point where, like, he didn't play in 2020, and he still had the most 20+ yard receptions in 2019 and 2020 combined, which is ridiculous. He like half the sample size, and he completely demolished that category. I think Devonta Smith might have been number 2 in that category. As well. So shout out to him. JaMarr Chase, he has the physicality to beat press, decent route running, pretty good athlete, not overly athletic, but he has the ability and the speed to make guys miss. And he has some decent ability to get downfield and be a deep threat and also run after the catch.
Yeah, so JaMarr Chase, I mean, we already talked about these dudes
Mhm.
many times, especially in our mock draft, so I'll keep it short. JaMarr Chase, I saw probably one of the best prospects since Amari Cooper. Uh, Great athlete. Honestly did not see many, if not any, weaknesses in his game. If
Mhm.
you want to check out more on JaMarr Chase really and how he is as a prospect, you should check out our YouTube channel. We posted a long time ago. We
Back in
posted
January.
Yeah, we posted it quite some time ago. We posted a JaMarr Chase film review. Yeah, so I think that shows you how we think of
Mhm.
JaMarr Chase. And I think in terms of film review, I think his film's probably like most interesting because he just gets open. Like, what's the need of he's just there. He's like wide open
Mhm.
almost every play. So uh
And he's a contested catch monster as
and
well.
he's also a contested catch monster. So I mean, he's got everything you need in him. And people do have him in the top 3 prospects, top 2 prospects, right behind Lawrence. People I've seen people as high as 2, 3 for him. Uh, but yeah, he's definitely my number 1. And then when it comes to Devonta Smith at number 2, it's just the fact he had the best year out of anyone in college football last year. Looked at He was dominating games single-handedly. Absolute beast. The weakness for him is just his injury risk. It's the risk that's really there in his game. I think that's my only downside when it comes to Devonta Smith. He It's this frame. He keeps on believing that it's not an issue. Um, but we'll see how that goes. And then Jaylen Waddle for me, injury risk is another reason that I could see him falling. And on top of that, he's reminds me of a lot of the Tyreek Hill speed wise. I just got to see it translate and see to believe it. But those 3, Jaylen Waddle, I've seen on many boards being higher than Devonta Smith. I can see that because when Jaylen Waddle was on the field, Reeb and Devonta Smith were on the field. Jaylen Waddle was like that. I'll put it that way. So
Mhm.
I can definitely see. And entering into this season, people were higher on Jaylen Waddle than Devonta Smith. So I can definitely see a possibility of Jaylen Waddle being picked ahead of Devonta Smith. So yeah,
Yeah, and that would make no sense for me because people are saying the
agreed.
injury risk is why you wouldn't pick Devontae Smith, but Jalen Waddle actually got injured and Devontae
Exactly.
Smith just didn't. And
Exactly.
Devontae Smith, yeah, he's light. He's like 165, 170 pounds. No one knows except him. And he might not even be stepping on a scale because he doesn't want to know. He might be that light. The only guy who's as light of him as him is probably like Tutu Atwell. He's like 160. The guy of air, where is
But
he? Louisville.
he's also pretty small though too. But
Yeah, he's smaller. The thing about Devontae Smith, he's an outlier in weight. He's also an outlier when it comes to his jumping ability. He's an outlier when it comes to his reach, his wingspan. I looked it up, is the same as Russell Westbrook. It might be even longer than Russell Westbrook's, which is
crazy.
ridiculous. He is a freak athlete in his own regard. Great route runner, good enough speed. People are saying he's going to get pressed to like oblivion, but the thing is, he's too quick to get pressed. He like you try to press him and boom, he's gone already. Great burst. He doesn't have the best long speed, but um, it's good enough to get the job done and be definitely be a great deep threat player. Because some people like DeAndre Hopkins, he's definitely a deep threat player. He gets open down deep, and he's not the fastest player. You don't need to be like a Tyreek Kill to be a deep threat. And I think Devonta Smith and JaMarr Chase both have enough speed to be deep threats. Jaylen Waddle, Tyreek Hill is the comp. He has everything you want: speed, burst, acceleration. Use him as a running back. Use him to dump off passes. Use them deep. And the thing that's scary about him is he has the route running to back it up. So it's like it's not just blind speed. He has the ability to run good enough routes where he's not dependent on purely his speed to get open, which is what I like about him. And he also makes some nice contested catches here and there where he's not like a jump ball guy, but he can use his hands and his catching ability. He's not just a fast guy. He is a wide receiver.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we can move on.
Yeah, our consensus number 4 would be Rashod Bateman. You have him at 5. I have him at 4. What I like about Rashod Bateman, another great, phenomenal route runner. He gets open. He's a Keenan Allen to me. Like I see the separation ability. Um, he's pretty good at making jump ball receptions. Just thinking off the top of my head, the one thing I didn't like about him is, first of all, his pro day was whack. He was listed at like 6'2", like 210, and his pro day like knocked him down to like 6 foot and like 190, and it was just sort of like suspect. Like, why was his number so like messed up? But another thing I didn't like about him was I just felt like his play speed was awful. Like sometimes he looked really fast and he had that burst. Sometimes he just didn't. And maybe he did. Maybe he just was heavier in 2020, so he looked slower. And that now he's slimmed down, and now he's actually at his normal playing weight of 190. So yeah, his speed is inconsistent, but I like what you get from Rashod Bateman. I do believe he can be a true wide receiver 1.
Yeah, I agree. That pro comparison that you brought to Keenan Allen makes a lot of sense, honestly. Rashod Bateman's probably also one of the safer picks in this draft. You know what you're getting from him. I think he has a true wide receiver 1 capability in this league. He put up big number. He could have had great numbers this year, but Big Ten canceled the majority of their season. But yeah, I'm also just as high as you. I have him at 5. You have him at 4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's going to be a good receiver.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the guy who you have at 4 above him, Kadarius Toney. The stage is yours, my friend.
Yeah, so for me, Kadarius Toney, this is a dude Reeb actually introduced to me, and then when I looked into it, I fell in love with him. He's probably a late day 1, early day 2 type of prospect. I could see him going in the 20s. Washington would be a good place to go for him, but we've already talked about that. But I think with him, it's the speed. I like the speed that he has. His ability is great. Quite dangerous. He's great. He plays on the outside. Arib. He could be used as a slot. He kind of reminds me of a Debo. I don't know how you feel.
I
about
like that comparison actually.
But I saw a lot of Debo Samuel and Kadarius Toney because he can be used Arib as anything. He can be used as an outside receiver, as a slot receiver. He can even be used as a damn running back for all that you know, right? And he could create separation extremely well. You can see that in the Senior Bowl. He looked great there. And yeah, he's just you do not want the ball in his hands, and that's why I'm higher on Kadarius Toney than I am on Rashod Bateman. His upside, I just like his upside more than that. So for me, that's why I have Kadarius Toney there at 4. And we're transitioning Arib into a league where we have guys like Debo Samuel there.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So that's why I have Kadarius Toney that high.
Yeah, and I'm high on Kadarius Toney as well. I have him ranked at number 6 for me. What I liked about Kadarius Toney, you said dangerous. I think that's the perfect way of saying it. He's probably the best ball carrier, and that includes running backs, tight ends, whatever, quarterbacks in this class. Just because I think he has the elite ability to make guys miss, and it looks like he doesn't look like, I don't think he has the best deep speed. Like, he makes some deep plays here and there, but his separation for me comes from his route running during the intermediate to short area of the field. That's what I like about him. But on top of that, after the catch, or just give him dump offs or screens or give him end arounds like a Debo Samuel. And he's not as powerful as Debo Samuel, but I think he makes guys miss in a way that Debo Samuel can't make, because he's just super shifty, Amal. Like that, I think that's the best way of saying it. Dangerous, shifty, best ball carrier. He has spin moves in his arsenal. He has jukes. He has stutter steps. He has just everything. And I think his elite skill is making guys miss, which is why I have him pretty high. I'd say at number 6. Again, he's a round 1 to 2 guy for me. However, our consensus number 6, I have Terrance Marshall Jr. out of LSU. I have him higher than Kadarius Toney at 5. And the reason why, because for some reason, I don't know what it is. I don't know if Kadarius Toney can be a true wide receiver 1. And that might just be because he had Kyle Pitts, who was de facto wide receiver 1 there. So Kadarius Toney never really was a wide receiver 1 at Florida, whereas I think Terrance Marshall was. Terrance Marshall was 6'4", I think 210. For a guy who's that big, he runs super fast. He actually is a deep threat. He has way better deep speed than Kadarius Toney. He has jump ball ability, which is, you saw that on display with Joe Burrow in 2019. I think if he hits, then you're getting someone who can legitimately be like, I think maybe like a Kenny Galladay would be a good comp for him. Like he could hit that type of ceiling, whereas like you're just like, holy crap, he can do everything on the field. One thing I didn't like about him, I guess, was his route running wasn't the best, but he has all the physical tools to be a menace. I think that's how to say it, a menace in the NFL. Go
Yeah.
for it. Go for it.
So for me, my bad. So for me, I had Terrace Marshall. I don't remember what I
You have him at
believe I
6.
had him. Let me double check. I had Bateman, so I had him at number 6. So Terrace Marshall, he got overshadowed, of course, by JaMarr Chase when he played,
And Justin
but
Jefferson.
and Justin Jefferson. Yeah, I mean it's quite unfortunate. He was going to be the number 2 receiver, but JaMarr Chase, of course, opted out, and he played pretty well, man. He's quite dynamic as well. Yeah, you talked about Kadarius Toney's speed. I think his deep speed is unmatched. Honestly, his deep speed's there for sure. Uh, Honestly, he's also a mismatch, Arib. I mean, the dude's 6'4". He's 6'4", 200.
He's huge.
He's huge. I mean, he is literally a mismatch. So if he pans out, holy crap, that's scary. That is very scary.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably, I could see him slipping into day 2. Kind of like a type of pick, maybe early day 2. I can definitely see that being a possibility here. You can move on.
Yep. And now we have they're not Moore brothers, but the 2 Moores, Rondale Moore out of Purdue, our consensus number 7, and Elijah Moore, the wide receiver out of, what was he? Ole Miss. Yeah. Ole Miss. Both of these guys I feel like are kind of similar almost, Amal. As in, I think they're both pretty good when it comes to being deep threats down the field. Why I have Rondale Moore higher, and Rondale Moore could even be like number 5. Like you could probably put him above Kadarius Toney. His only problem is like, yeah, he produced really well. He's a freak athlete. This guy's like, he's like 5'7", but he has a great vertical jump, great athleticism. I mean, in the weight room, he is this year's Saquon Barkley when it comes to squatting, deadlifting, all that fun stuff. His injury risk is what holds him back. But what he's good at doing in the field is he has the speed. He has the ability to make some nice contested catches for a guy his size, obviously. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. And he's just fast. He has elusiveness. Like I just liked everything about Rondale Moore in that aspect of the game where you could clearly see, like, you watch him and you're like, damn, this guy, he definitely is faster than most of the guys that they're playing at Purdue. And he just has that ability to be I think, I don't want to say a Tyreek Hill because I don't think he's as fast as Jaylen Waddle, but he's probably the next best thing in that department.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Rondale Moore was a guy that I thought he could have been wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 entering into this draft because he was one of the Heisman candidates entering this. He came off an ACL injury, and then this year he got hurt. So then he didn't even play many games in the Big Ten. And when he played,
he had a
looked pretty good.
hamstring injury this year.
And then he had a hamstring injury again on top of that. So the injuries risk was the only reason Rondale Moore is lower. But I think I think he's an overall just a better receiver than Elijah Moore. Elijah
I
Moore
agree
is
with that.
Elijah Moore is just track speed, dude. That dude is just. I mean, that's all you can really say, dude. He
Yeah.
literally has track speed, and if you utilize him right, then of course you're creating a mismatch there for sure. His he has
Rondale
elite speed. I
Moore.
100% say that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Rondale Moore for me he's an elite weapon. Like he has the ability to make great catches. You can use him in the backfield like a Jaylen Waddle, end arounds, all that fun stuff. And there are a lot of smaller, faster guys in this class. And we're gonna talk about another one later on. But Elijah Moore, what I liked about Elijah Moore was I think people say he's DJ Moore, and I can kind of see that in all honesty because I can understand that pro comp. What I liked about Elijah Moore was he had that speed. He's a smaller guy as well, but he had the route running to compensate for his size or lack of size. Good hands, great burst, initial burst. Again, another offensive weapon type of dude where he was used off dump passes and end arounds and dump offs and all that stuff. Good balance. He's another guy who's pretty good, similar to Kadarius Toney after the catch. And again, similar to a Rondale Moore. All those guys, I had them 6, 7, and 8 because I just think injury risk included. I think Kadarius Toney is just better than Rondale Moore at that. But Rondale Moore, he has all that ability. Same thing with Elijah Moore to make guys miss, versatility. And route running, I think Elijah Moore has that as well. What I didn't like was, again, he's smaller, so physical DB has definitely overwhelmed him at the line. And his route running, I think his out running was good when it comes to slants and out and ups and goes, but I think he can work on it, sort of cleaning it up a little bit. But again, what I like about Elijah Moore, he just plays bigger than what he's listed at. I think he's listed at like 5'9", 185. He plays way bigger than that. So you got to give him credit for that. And I think now we have our consensus number 9. I have him at number 13. You have him at number 9, I believe. Dyami Brown, the wide receiver out of UNC. He was your sleeper. I believe he might have been my sleeper as well. I forget. But Dyami Brown out of UNC, what I really liked about him, actually, you can take the stage because he's your guy. You have him higher than me.
Okay, so what I really liked about Dyami Brown, sorry to be cut up there. But what I liked about Dyami Brown was that he was just he was different from the other prospects in that in a way that I don't know if you could describe it with other people. He was a deep threat, Uri, and kind of like JaMarr Chase. He would his deep ball game was there, man. He was he didn't. The only problem with him was dropping the ball. I think that's where that's what we discussed Tommy Brown sleeper the last time we mentioned him. Probably more of a day 2 prospect, if anything. But yeah, he has great build up speed. From what I'm seeing, yeah, I think just yeah, I think he's
He's a deep
dropping.
threat for sure.
Yeah, deep threat's just the main thing. Yeah, he's quite fast, man. I think he probably runs 4.4 speed, 4.45 speed. He's
Mhm.
pretty damn fast. I think yeah. From watching film, I can honestly just say you need to watch him not for the deep ball. So
Yeah.
that's all I can really say there. He's probably for me he'd be. I think he's a day 2 prospect. If you ask me,
Yeah.
I don't know if he will go. He could go late day 2, early day 3. I think he's day 2 though.
Yeah, I'd put him day 2 for sure, like in the second, probably late second to early third range. Again, I think he's very solid at a lot of things, Amal, but his main bread and butter is being a great deep threat. So the reason I don't have him higher, I have him at 13. The reason why is because I think Dwayne Eskridge, the player out of Western Michigan, you have him at 10. He's our consensus number 10. I have him at 12. I think Dwayne Eskridge is a better deep threat Amal. And I think I pro comped him to Deshaun Jackson. And I really like that pro comp, if I don't say so myself, if I can't say whatever that saying is. Dwayne Eskridge, he's a wide receiver, and you can definitely see, first of all, to be Deshaun Jackson, you needed the speed. He definitely has the speed to be that. Not only does he have like the deep speed to get separation downfield, because he is a deep threat, and I think he's a better deep threat than Dyami Brown. He also has the speed to run after the catch that I don't necessarily know if Dyami Brown has. Dwayne Eskridge, I don't know if he's the best contested catcher, but he has the ability to make catches that he shouldn't make, especially alongside the sideline. I really like what you get from him in that aspect. Um, his inside outs are really good. Great hands. Yeah, his hands were phenomenal. He just plucks some balls that you wouldn't really expect someone like Dyami Brown drops a lot of balls, which is why I have him lower than you do. Dwayne Eskridge doesn't drop balls like at all. What you can't really like about him though is his competition. Obviously, he played for Western Michigan.
That's the main thing,
Mhm.
right? There's no competition. But that being said, small schools have brought out great players. Of course, we remember Antonio Brown. So, you never know when it comes to that. So,
Mhm.
hey, man, you may be right about the Dwayne Eskridge. I have him pretty high too. I mean, I can say top 10 is still pretty high. So, but yeah.
Yeah. Tylan Wallace is our number 11. I have him at 9. You have him at 13. So he gets right in the middle, averaging that out. Tylan Wallace might be the best jump ball receiver in this year's class, which is crazy because he's kind of smaller. Amal. He's like 6 foot. So he's not definitely like the tallest guy, but I really like his jump ball ability, and that is his bread and butter. Um, that's what he succeeds in college. I comped him to Marvin Jones, who's another smaller guy, I think like 6'1", who's another great jump ball wide receiver. That is what you're getting in um, Tylan Wallace out of Oklahoma State. And he's another guy who's like round 2 to round 3 for me. If you just need a guy who he's just overall pretty solid, good hands, decent route running. He's not really like spectacular in anything, but I think his jump ball ability is what makes him spectacular.
Yeah, I think you're good. I think you got it. I think you've said pretty much what I wanted to say there. You can
Mhm.
move on.
Yeah. Number Amari Rodgers. Okay, Amari Rodgers is our number 12, I believe. Amari Rodgers might be the best slot wide receiver in this year's class. He was my sleeper, so I'm not going to go crazy into him, but he's built like a running back, runs like a running back, has great route running, good enough deep speed to be good enough deep threat. And he's just a good old reliable slot wide receiver. So that's what you're getting in Amari Rodgers.
Yeah, so for me, Amari Rodgers, he was to be the wide receiver too for Clemson, but then of course, Justin Ross got hurt from the previous year, and he still has not. He didn't recover at all, so he didn't play at all this past year, and he took on the load Amari Rodgers as being that running wide receiver one. But I think for him, Reeb, I think in the NFL he's got to be a slot receiver, right, Reeb? But the thing is with him, he's quite small. I think that's what's holding him back, right? And he's
I
not the
think he plays
quickest dude,
bigger than his size, though. That's what I like about him.
but he's also not super quick either, dude. I don't his speed's not. I don't know if his speed is there. Like he doesn't in
I could
game
see that,
too.
like his burst. You mean? Like I think he
Yeah,
has good
yeah,
enough deep speed. I could see the
deep speed, of
burst
course, but yeah,
requirement.
yeah.
Um,
He
I
doesn't
could
burst.
understand that. Yeah.
His 40 time, I would have. I don't think he's that fast either. Yeah, that's my main thing with Amari Rodgers. That's why I'm not as high on him.
Yeah, and talking about speed, we can go to maybe the fastest guy in this year's class in Tutu Atwell, whose name is actually like Chardavius Tutu Atwell or something like that. It's ridiculous. I guess going by
Yeah,
Tutu makes more sense.
to well, I think I'm higher. Am I higher than him than you? I would
Yeah,
say
you have Tutu at 11. I have Tutu at 16. Um, this guy's really fast, Amal. That's his game. Another very fast guy who's gonna get end arounds, and he's gonna be used like a Debo Samuel. What I
yeah.
don't like about him, he's like 160 pounds and he has no power. So if you blow on him, he falls over. Like he has no tackle breaking ability in that regard.
Watch him go to the Chiefs, Reeb. Watch, you're gonna get mad, and
I
he's
mean,
gonna.
he could be a great deep threat too. So if he's replacing Sammy Watkins, I think he could do a good job. But
Yeah, but and then you're gonna talk about how Mahomes is pissing you off again. So you'll see. But yeah, I think not forget the Chiefs. I think in general, I think he's just a quick dude. Like you said, probably the fastest guy in this draft. Um, yeah, there's nothing really much to say there. We'd already discussed Elijah Moore. We discussed Jaylen Waddle, and I think he falls along those lines. So we can move on.
Yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown, our number 14 out of USC. For me, he's another guy. He's more of a slot wide receiver, in all honesty. That's where he lined up mostly for
Great.
USC. But he has some jump ball ability. I think his back shoulder fade and his jump ball ability is what makes him stand out. But
I'd like
I
Indy
honestly
to
just,
draft him.
yeah, maybe. Um, I just, I have him at 15. You're a bit higher at 12. I don't think he's spectacular at anything. I don't think he has great tackle breaking ability. I don't think he has great speed or burst. I just think he's okay. So, like, he's a round 3 guy for me. I think he's going to be pretty stable and he can be a solid wide receiver
I
4,
like
wide
his
receiver
route
5.
running. That's my main thing with Amon-Ra St.
Fair
Brown.
enough.
I think that's my main thing that I saw from him, his route running, and I liked his balance as well. Those were the two things I liked
Mhm.
the most about Amon-Ra St. Brown. But yeah, weaknesses, I guess the quickness, I guess, could be a weakness. Um, yeah, I guess that's probably my only
Mhm.
strength. Maybe he needs to bulk up more because he's only like one. Yeah, he's a pretty small dude, 5'11". Yeah, but yeah, we can move on.
Yeah. Finally,
You can say your last two. It's fine.
um actually, okay. I'm gonna save my last dude for later because
Yeah.
I've already talked about him. But I guess consensus would probably be between Sage Surratt out of Wake Forest and Jaelon Darden out of North Texas. I'm gonna talk about Jaelon Darden first, just because I don't think you really watched him. But Jaelon Darden, what I like about him, another fast guy, another really fast guy, smaller as well, 5'9", like 185 pounds, but he's a great wide receiver. He has great routes. He's not just someone who has speed. He definitely is a wide receiver. He has the skills to run great routes, good hands, good deep speed, can make guys miss. He's just another he's a joystick. I think that's the best way to phrase him. And that's why I liked about him. Sage Surratt out of Wake Forest. You have him pretty high at 15. I have him down at 21. He's just another he might just end up being my Chase Claypool, where I say he's slow and he ends up being way faster. But I just think his play speed wasn't there. He doesn't get deep separation, but again, good hands. He's another jump ball wide receiver. So I understand why you have him in your top 15 because he's a good jump ball
Yeah,
player.
yeah. My only criticism, yeah, was separation. That was my only criticism there. Everything else I had him pretty good at.
Fair enough. And then my last two guys, I'm going to talk about Tamorrion Terry out of Florida State. He's a very I'm gonna say like I said, I think I said Puka Williams in the running back segment was a discount Saquon. I see Tamarian Terry as a discount DK Metcalf, where he has the side speed combination. Um, it just and he also has the same drop issues that DK Metcalf has in the league as well. I just think someone needs to take him in round 2, and you're just gonna be okay with it if you use him to his strengths, right? And then finally, Daz Newsome, I have him at 18, another slot wide receiver. What I liked about him, I just liked his route running, his hands. He's another speedier guy who he plays the slot, but he can be a deep threat as well. So that's what I like from the wide receivers. Any like under the radar guys, or I guess guys who just missed a cut for you, Amon, before we move on to tight ends? Thanks for listening to this segment of the Flea Flicker NFL show. If you enjoyed it, give this video a like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Thanks for listening. Peace out and bye.